Hey everyone, and welcome back to Timeline Off Tales. I'm your host, and tonight we're not just looking at history. We're going on a treasure hunt. We're diving headfirst into the world of legendary riches, whispered secrets, and quests that have consumed lifetimes. These aren't just fairy tales, they are the stories of real fortunes, vast hoards of gold, silver, and priceless jewels that were gathered, fought for, and then vanished. From the golden age of piracy to the clandestine operations of military leaders, these treasures were hidden away, their locations locked behind cryptic maps, deadly curses, and the impenetrable veil of time itself. Our journey will take us across the globe, from a remote, jungle-choked island in the Pacific to the treacherous waters off the coast of Florida, and deep into the rugged, unforgiving mountains of the American Southwest. We'll be chasing the ghosts of notorious pirates, deciphering the codes of enigmatic prospectors, and retracing the final, desperate voyages of doomed treasure fleets. Each story is a puzzle, a mystery with a multi-billion-dollar prize waiting at the end. The clues are scattered, the dangers are real, and the odds are stacked against us. So, grab your gear, check your maps, and get ready for an adventure. We're about to follow the trails of history's most elusive fortunes, separating fact from fiction, and exploring the legends that continue to inspire modern-day treasure hunters. The question is, are these treasures still out there, just waiting for someone with enough grit and a little bit of luck to find them? Let's find out together. The expedition begins now. Our first stop takes us to a place shrouded in legend, a tiny speck of land in the Pacific Ocean known as Cocos Island. It's been called the Treasure Island of the real world, and for good reason. The story begins in 1820, in Lima, Peru. The city was on the brink of revolution and its Spanish viceroys were desperate. They needed to get their vast wealth, the accumulated riches of the city's cathedrals and elite, to safety. We're talking about tons of gold bars, chests overflowing with silver coins, and dazzling life-sized golden statues of saints encrusted with emeralds and diamonds. A king's ransom, and then some. They entrusted this immense fortune to a British sea captain, William Thompson, and his ship, the Mary Dear, with strict orders to sail for Panama. But the temptation was just too great. Thompson and his first mate, Benito, saw their chance. They turned on the Spanish guards, slit their throats and dumped their bodies into the sea. The treasure was theirs, but now they were pirates with a fortune too large to spend and a target on their backs. They needed a place to hide it, a remote, uninhabited bank vault. They chose Cocos Island, a place so isolated they believed no one would ever find it. For weeks they labored, hauling chest after chest into the dense jungle, burying it deep within a hidden sea cave. The estimated value today? A staggering 160 million pounds. But their victory was short-lived. A Spanish warship eventually caught up with them. Most of the crew, including Thompson, were captured and executed. Only 2 men who claimed to know the treasure's location survived. They promised to lead the Spanish to the gold, but escaped into the jungle the moment they set foot on Cocos. The secret of the Treasure of Lima vanished with them, leaving behind a legacy of failed expeditions and a jungle that jealously guards its golden secret. From a single pirate's hoard, we now turn to the catastrophic loss of an entire nation's wealth. We're heading to the sun-drenched coast of Florida, a place known to treasure hunters as the Treasure Coast. The name isn't a marketing gimmick, it was earned in the summer of 1715. A magnificent Spanish treasure fleet, 11 galleons strong, was sailing from Havana to Spain. Their holds were bursting with the riches of the New World, an estimated 14 million silver pesos, chests of gold coins, and priceless Chinese porcelain. This was the payroll, the tax revenue, the lifeblood of the Spanish Empire. But as the fleet sailed up the Florida coast, they ran headlong into a monster. A ferocious hurricane of unimaginable power descended upon them, turning the sea into a churning cauldron. The mighty ships were no match for the storm's fury. One by one they were torn apart, smashed against the reefs, and dragged to the bottom. Over 1,000 sailors, soldiers, and passengers perished in the raging waters. The greatest treasure fleet of its time was annihilated, its immense fortune scattered across the seabed like pocket change. For centuries, the treasure lay undisturbed, but in the 1960s, a new breed of explorer, armed with metal detectors and salvage equipment, began to rediscover the lost fleet. Since then, an incredible $175 million worth of gold and silver has been brought to the surface. Glittering artifacts that haven't seen the sun in over 250 years. But here's the kicker, that's only a fraction of the total. marine archaeologists believe that 4 of the 11 ships have never been found. Their cargo, worth hundreds of millions more, is still out there, waiting beneath the sands of Florida's Treasure Coast for the next storm or the next lucky diver to reveal its location. Some treasures are so vast they sound like pure fantasy. This is one of those stories. We're traveling back to 1511 to the Strait of Malacca, a critical shipping lane between the Indian and Pacific Oceans. Here, the legendary Portuguese carrack, the Flor de la Mar, or Flower of the Sea, was making its final voyage. This wasn't just any ship, it was the largest and most powerful vessel in the Portuguese fleet, captained by the formidable Afonso de Albuquerque. He had just conquered the Sultanate of Malacca, one of the wealthiest trading hubs in the world, and he was loading his prize ship with the spoils. The manifest reads like a fairy tale. It included 60 tons of gold bullion, chests filled with hundreds of thousands of silver and gold coins, and a collection of diamonds, rubies, and sapphires so immense it was said to be the largest single treasure ever amassed by the Portuguese Empire. There were golden thrones, jewel-encrusted daggers, and priceless artifacts from the conquered kingdom. The estimated value in today's money is almost impossible to comprehend, a staggering $3 billion. This single ship held more wealth than many modern nations. But the Flower of the Sea never made it home. As it sailed through the Strait of Malacca, it was caught in a violent storm. The overloaded, top-heavy ship was smashed against the reefs off the coast of Sumatra and broke in two. Albuquerque survived, clinging to a raft, but the ship and its legendary treasure sank into the murky depths. For over 500 years, fortune hunters and governments have tried to find it. The currents are treacherous, the visibility is near zero, and the exact location remains a mystery. All salvage attempts have failed, leaving the world's richest shipwreck resting somewhere in the silt, a $3 billion ghost story. Next, we sail to the notoriously treacherous coastline of South Africa, a place known to sailors as the Wild Coast. It was here, way back in 1782, that the Grosvenor, a proud British East Indiaman, met its tragic end. The ship was on the final leg of a long journey from India back to England, and its hold was a treasure chest of colonial wealth. Now, official records are kinda spotty, which is a classic sign that something valuable was on board that the company didn't want to advertise. But legend and survivor accounts, well, they paint a much richer picture. The stories speak of a secret cargo, a fortune far exceeding the official manifest. We're talking about an estimated 2.6 million gold coins, 19 chests of diamonds, emeralds, rubies, and sapphires, and the priceless peacock throne of the Mughal emperors, disassembled and hidden in crates. The Grosvenor wasn't just carrying trade goods, it was carrying the plunder of a continent. But on August 4, 1782, a navigational error and a powerful gale drove the ship hard onto the rocks near Pondoland. The vessel broke apart, spilling its crew and its incredible riches into the violent surf. The wreck of the Grosvenor was eventually located in the 1950s. But that was honestly the easy part. The ship lies in a brutal environment of pounding waves and shifting sands, making any recovery effort a nightmare. Over the years, syndicates have poured millions into salvage attempts, tunneling from the shore and battling the relentless ocean. They found a few cannons, some anchors, and a handful of coins, just enough to prove the stories are true. But the bulk of the treasure, the millions in gold and the chests of gems, remains stubbornly elusive, guarded by the unforgiving waves of the Wild Coast. We leave the high seas for the scorching, desolate landscape of the American Southwest. Our destination, Arizona's Superstition Mountains, a place as menacing as its name suggests. This is the home of America's most famous lost treasure story, the Lost Dutchman Mine. The legend centers on a German immigrant named Jacob Waltz, the Dutchman himself. In the late 19th century, Waltz would periodically appear in Phoenix with saddlebags full of incredibly rich gold ore, gold unlike any found in the known mines of the region. He claimed to have a secret mine, a mother lode hidden deep within the labyrinthine canyons of the Superstitions. Waltz was fiercely protective of his secret, and the mountains themselves seemed to conspire with him. The Apache believed the area was sacred, guarded by the Thunder God, and that anyone who trespassed in search of gold would be cursed. The stories only fueled the legend. Prospectors who tried to follow Waltz into the mountains either vanished without a trace or were found dead, sometimes mysteriously decapitated. The curse seemed very, very real. The mountains are a maze of jagged peaks and identical-looking canyons, a place where it's easy to get lost, run out of water, and succumb to the brutal elements. On his deathbed in 1891, Waltz finally described the mine's location to a neighbor, Julia Thomas. He drew a crude map and gave cryptic clues, mentioning a prominent rock formation that looked like a sombrero and a cave entrance hidden by a thorny bush. But the clues were vague, the map was confusing, and neither Julia nor anyone since has been able to pinpoint the location. For over a century, thousands of Dutch hunters have scoured the superstitions, many meeting with tragedy. The Lost Dutchman's Mine remains just that, lost, a golden enigma protected by a rugged landscape and a chilling curse. Our next treasure hunt is a mental one, a challenge that has stumped America's best cryptographers for, like, 2 centuries. It involves a mysterious gentleman named Thomas J. Beale, a small iron box and a treasure worth an estimated $93 million. The story goes that in the early 1820s, Beale and a party of adventurers discovered a massive deposit of gold and silver while hunting buffalo in what is now Colorado or New Mexico. Not wanting to transport such a huge fortune across the country, they decided to bury it in a secret location back east, in Bedford County, Virginia. To ensure the secret was safe, Beale created one of the most ingenious puzzles in treasure hunting history. He wrote 3 separate messages in a complex numerical cipher. The first described the exact location of the underground vault. The second detailed the contents of the treasure. And the third listed the names of the 30 men who were its rightful heirs. He placed these coded sheets in an iron box and entrusted it to a trustworthy local innkeeper, Robert Morris, before disappearing forever, promising to send the keys to the ciphers in the mail. The keys never arrived. Years later, a friend of Morris managed to crack one of the ciphers, the second one detailing the contents. Using the Declaration of Independence as the key, he revealed a staggering list of nearly 3,000 pounds of gold and 5,000 pounds of silver. But the other 2 ciphers, the crucial ones, have resisted all attempts at being solved. Cipher number 1, the map to the treasure, remains an unbreakable enigma. Has the treasure been found secretly? Is it all an elaborate hoax, or is a $93 million fortune still buried just a few feet beneath the soil of rural Virginia, waiting for someone to find the right key? For this chapter, we're venturing to one of the most remote places on Earth. Palmyra Atoll, a string of tiny coral-fringed islets in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, over 1,000 miles south of Hawaii. It's a place of stunning natural beauty, but also one with a dark and eerie reputation. The story begins in 1816 with a Spanish pirate ship, the Esperanza. Fleeing a naval patrol, the ship, laden with a stolen fortune of Inca and Aztec artifacts from the viceroyalties of Peru, found itself caught in a storm and wrecked on Palmyra's treacherous reefs. The treasure was immense, 1.5 million gold pesos, chests of silver, and priceless pre-Columbian art plundered from temples and palaces. The surviving pirates, according to the legend, managed to haul their loot ashore and bury it somewhere on the atoll before attempting to sail for help on makeshift rafts. They were never seen again. For years, the story was just a whisper among sailors, a ghost story about a haunted atoll and its buried gold. The island developed a reputation for being cursed, a place where ships wreck and people disappear, all watched over by the ghosts of the doomed pirates. The legend gained new life when a sack of gold coins was reportedly found on the atoll in the mid-20th century, fueling speculation that the main hoard was still there. However, the story of the Esperanza has never been officially verified, and no major treasure has ever been recovered. Today, Palmyra Atoll is a protected U.S. National Wildlife Refuge, and access is strictly controlled. Any treasure hunting is forbidden. So if the pirate's fortune is there, it's likely to stay there, protected not by ghosts but by federal law, a golden secret preserved in a pristine tropical paradise. Our final destination takes us to the majestic landscape of Rajasthan, India, to the imposing Jaigarh Fort. This massive stronghold, perched atop a hill overlooking the city of Amer, wasn't just a military fortress, it was a bank vault for one of the most powerful figures in the Mughal Empire, Raja Man Singh I. In the late 16th century, Man Singh was a trusted general for the Emperor Akbar. He led a triumphant military campaign into Afghanistan and, according to legend, returned not just with victory, but with a colossal amount of plunder. The stories claim he kept the lion's share of the Afghan treasure for himself, hiding it from the emperor. He secretly transported this vast hoard of gold, silver and jewels back to his ancestral fort at Jaigarh, and concealed it in a series of hidden underground chambers and water tanks built into the very foundations of the fortress. For centuries, the treasure was a local legend, a whispered tale of a warlord's secret wealth. The location of the hoard was a secret passed down through his family, a secret that was eventually lost to time. The story exploded into the international spotlight in the 1970s during a period of political turmoil in India. The government, led by Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, became convinced the legend was true. They ordered a massive, months-long search of Jaigarh Fort, bringing in the army and tax officials. The fort was sealed off and they dug everywhere, even closing the main highway for days. Officially, the search yielded nothing. But rumors persist that a small portion of the treasure was found and secretly flown to Delhi, while the bulk of Man Singh's Afghan gold still lies hidden, waiting in a forgotten chamber beneath the ancient stones of the fort. And so, our expedition comes to a close. From the cursed mountains of Arizona to the ghost-haunted atolls of the Pacific, the allure of these lost treasures is as powerful today as it was centuries ago. These stories are more than just tales of gold and jewels. They are monuments to human ambition, greed, tragedy, and the enduring spirit of adventure. They remind us that our world still holds profound mysteries, secrets buried just beneath the surface, waiting for the right person with the right map, or just the right amount of luck, to uncover them. The hunt for these fortunes connects us to the past in a very real, tangible way. Every treasure hunter who picks up a metal detector or dives on a wreck is continuing a story that began hundreds of years ago with pirates, prospectors, and kings. Whether these treasures will ever be found is a question that keeps the legends alive. Perhaps they are gone forever, or perhaps tomorrow someone will make a discovery that rewrites history. That possibility is the real treasure, the fuel that keeps the search going. Thank you so much for joining us on this incredible journey through history's most epic lost treasures here on Timeline of Tales. If you enjoyed the adventure and want to join us on the next one, please don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out, and share this video with anyone who loves a good mystery. The story is never over, there are always more clues to follow. Until next time, keep exploring.